All right, here we go. I say here we go. We're going to do a couple more exponents. We're going to do a little bit harder ones this time, a little bit different ones. And maybe, if you're lucky, I even do more video because I'm just like feeling like making videos tonight because that's what I love to do when it's 11:20 at night. So that's what I'm going to do. So here we go. Let's look at number 11. So first, we're going to look at the top of the function. We're going to look at the bottom. Now, the last video I did red all over the place. I'm tired of red. So I'm going to use blue. I think I'm going to use red plenty next week when I grade your exams. No, I'm just kidding. I bet I'm not going to use red too much, I hope. So anyway, let's go ahead and look at the top first. We've got 3r to the 0 power, all to the third power. So this is a power of a product. The power is going to distribute to both of these. All right, so that will be 3 to the third power. Now please note this is not the distributive property. Okay, this is the property of the power of a product. The power goes to each of the pieces of the product because it's 3 times r to the 0. Now 3 will also go to r to the 0. 3 times 0 is 0. So that would still be r to the 0. We also know that r to the 0 is 1. So that's actually going to go away. We'll divide by 3r squared times 3r cubed. 3 times 3 is 3 squared. Now, yeah, it could be 9, but just for the sake of what we're doing, I'm just going to write as 3 squared. R squared times r cubed. Add them because we're multiplying, right? When you multiply variables with exponents, you add the exponents, so that would be r to the 5th. And then I've got 3 to the 3rd over 3 squared. You subtract the exponents. Please note that I'm not going to divide 3 by 3. If you had x to the 3rd over x squared, you wouldn't end up with 1 to the first power. You know that. You're going to end up with x to the first power. So why is it different if it's a 3 instead of an x? Numbers are supposed to be easier than letters, okay? So just don't divide the 3's. You're subtracting the exponents. That's going to take care of it. 3 minus 2 is 1. So I'm going to have a 3. The r to the 5th I didn't do anything with, so it's got to stay on the bottom. R to the 5th. And so there you go. There's the first one. Let's go on to the next one. Actually, you know what? That one looks too easy. So let's go down to 15. So we'll go ahead and I've got k to the 3rd over k to the 3rd. 3 minus 3 is 0. So that would be 3k to the 0 over 2. K to the 0 is 1. Therefore, this is just 3 halves. That was cake, wasn't it? All right. Well, let's do a couple more. Let's do number 19. 19 looks like fun. So we're going to take the 2. We're going to distribute it to both of these, right? Because it's the power of a product. This is 2 times y to the negative 2. You've got to deal with the top first, then deal with the bottom, and then put them together. So that will be 2 squared, and then y to the negative 4, because I'm going to multiply 2 times negative 2. That's all over negative x to the 4th, y to the 0. Now y to the 0 is 1, so we'll take away that. This y to the negative 4th, well, that one needs to move down to the bottom because we can't have a negative exponent. So let's leave the 2 squared on the top. We leave the negative x to the 4th on the bottom, and then we move the y to the 4th to the bottom. Now, this is not a negative exponent right here, therefore it doesn't move. You only move it if it's a negative exponent. So this right here is perfectly appropriate. You're also welcome to rewrite it as negative 2 squared over x to the 4th, y to the 4th if you want. All right, either way, positive divided by a negative will end up being negative. And so just like that is fine, or you can leave it this way. All right, maybe we got time for one more. Oh yeah, 21 looks like a blast. So this is a product, 2 times x times y cubed. So we're going to distribute, even though this is not the distributive property. So we've got 2 to the negative 2, x to the negative 2, and then y to the 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. We took care of the top. Now let's take care of the bottom. Well, I don't have anything to multiply the 2 by, so let's leave it there. I got an x to the negative 1 and an x to the 4th, so we'll put those together. It's multiplication, so I'm going to add those together. 4 plus negative 1 is 3. And then I've got a y to the 4th and a y to the negative 1, so we'll put those together. This is all just multiplication, right? even though it looks like they're together and these are terms, it's all just 2 times this, times this, times this. It's all multiplication. We said in the last video, any order we want, put the y's together. That would give us y to the third. And so now we can put everything together. 2 to the negative 2 over 2 to the first. Since it's division, we're going to subtract. So that would be 2 to the negative third. We've got x, negative 2 minus 3. Negative 2 minus 3 is negative 5. And then negative 6 minus 3 is y to the negative 9. You'll notice they all got negative exponents, so they all got to move down to the bottom. So we've got to leave a 1 on top. You can't have a bottom without a top, and we just rewrite everything with positive exponents now that it's on the bottom of the fraction. There you go. Cheers.